So, do you love Pacific Chill but want a better twist on it? Then you need Afnan's Rare Reef in your life. Hey, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to Fragrance Hunter. Today we are reviewing one of the newest fragrances from Afnan, and man, Afnan's been popping off with bangers lately guys, and today we are talking about Rare Reef, which I know a lot of you guys have been asking me to check out, review, etc, and the day is finally here. Now this is going to be kind of in the same realm as Pacific Chill, and if you know anything about me guys, I am not a fan of Pacific Chill like at all. It's one of my least favorite Louis Vuittons, and I was the first person on YouTube to review it, and I did give it a negative review, and that's coming from somebody that's a huge Louis Vuitton lover, probably my favorite designer house. And of course, I do have Pacific Chill right here, and if you want a better version of Pacific Chill with a twist, or if you're like me and wasn't a fan of it, you might actually love Rare Reef. So let me go ahead and throw Pacific Chill out the window, because we're not gonna need that anymore with this, guys. Because this actually fixes and improves everything I despised about Pacific Chill, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, I do wanna shout out Afnan for sending Rare Reef over for review. Now, of course, that's not gonna change my opinions. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. It's as simple as that, guys. And like I said, I wasn't a fan of Pacific Chill at all, and I do think this is a better twist on it. Now, if you do want to check out this as well, I hook you guys up with code HUNTER15 on the Afnan website. Is going to save you 15% off of your order. For the release date, this did come out in 2025. Like I said, this is one of the newest fragrances from Afnan, so it just recently dropped at the time of this recording. For the retail price, only size this comes in, which is the 100 ml, is going to run you around that $50 mark. Of course, you can use my code. You can also probably find it on discounters a little bit less. And of course, I'll leave a link on this video, the best price you can find Rare Reef for. The concentration with this, which actually surprised me, is an extrait de parfum. So they made this the highest of concentrations you can possibly have, way above Pacific Chill, guys. So you're probably getting around 30% oils in this one. And for the perfumer, which man, I respect Afnan for this, because they got a master perfumer behind a Rare Reef, guys. They were not messing around at all, because they got the man Lucas Suzak, who's also known for making Amouage's Reflection, man, one of the most popular Amouages of all time. So there is a master perfumer behind Rare Reef, and it's starting to become a new thing, guys, where these Middle Eastern brands are getting the best perfumers in the world to make their fragrances. With all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you get with Afnan's Rare Reef now. All right, take a look at this box, which I think this box looks sick, guys. Of course, you got this kind of logo on the front, Rare Reef Afnan Extrait de Parfum 100 ml. On the bottom, you will find your information, probably a barcode and batch code over here to authenticate your product and see when it was produced, with the Afnan hologram up top. Afnan, nothing really else on the box, but you open it up like so, and your bottle is going to be housed in there. And just look how cool that pattern looks inside, guys. I love the box aesthetic. Now let's look at the bottle now. So take a look at this bottle, which has this kind of blue glass that is see-through, so you can't see your juice level, which I always like. Of course, Rare Reef Afnan. Up top, you got that logo. You got that same kind of pattern on the top of the bottle. On the bottom, you will find your stick with some information. Nothing on the back. Pick up the cap. There's nothing inside the cap. Afnan embedded on the top of the atomizer, and the cap is like a heavy metal, which does click into place very securely. In the top, you got blackcurrant, mint, citron, orange, grapefruit, and coriander. In the mid, you got that apricot, violet leaf, basil, and rose. And in the base, you got fig, amberwood, and brett, and dates. And this is gonna be classified as a fruity citrus. Now, looking at that note breakdown, it is pretty similar to Pacific Chill, but has a few other notes. Because like I said, guys, this is not gonna be a clone. It's a true twist onto the DNA. Now, let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Very nice atomizer, guys. That sprays a ton of juice, and I got a ton on my arm, so I might have to wear this another day. But let's go ahead and remind myself of the brand new Rare Reef now. Now, this is honestly what Pacific Chill should have been all along, guys, because the opening of this one is so much better, at least for me. You are going to get that very fresh, fruity, slightly green blackcurrant right away. The blackcurrant is extremely dominant when you apply it. Mixed together with that very refreshing, uplifting mintiness you're gonna get in the opening as well. Now, it is pretty similar to Pacific Chill, of course, especially having that signature citron note in the opening of Rare Reef. However, this adds grapefruit in the opening. The grapefruit is very strong as well. Brings a much juicier, mouth-watering, refreshing take on that DNA, and I love grapefruit, guys. One of my favorite fruity citrus notes in fragrances and pretty much in all of my signature scents. So the grapefruit is toned up a ton in the opening of Rare Reef, but while still carrying that Pacific Chill DNA. And then in the base is where you're going to get that signature apricot note. Now, to be honest with you guys, the apricot in Pacific Chill is what completely ruined the fragrance for me. It was way too fruity, way too feminine leaning for my nose as well, guys. Thank goodness the apricot in here, you are going to detect it, but it's far toned down in comparison. And in the mid, it's gonna add the note of violet leaf. Now, violet leaf is not known in Pacific Chill, but guys, the way it's done in here is going to give off this kind of ozonic, watery aquaticness in the mid of Rare Reef. And I think it's a must-have in the DNA. And completely saves the mid of that Pacific Chill scent profile, guys. I'm telling you right now, this is a much more ozonic, watery fragrance and less fruity and feminine leaning. So if you thought Pacific Chill was feminine for you, just like myself, you have to check out Rare Reef because it fixes that. And then in the base, you are still going to get that kind of sweet, fruity fig and very sweet dates note, which I did kind of enjoy in Pacific Chill. It's probably the best part about the fragrance was the fig and dates. You also do get that kind of signature ambrette, which Louis Vuitton's known for. It's a very kind of musky ambrette note. However, though, in Rare Reef, Afnan's adds the note of amberwood, which is this kind of ambery woodiness, which I think makes the DNA even better as well, guys. It improves the base of Pacific Chill with Afnan's Rare Reef. I love the base of this one. Pretty similar, maybe a little bit more ambery and woody perhaps. But that's in the far base. This is not like an ambery woody fragrance by any means, but it's a little bit more amped up on that side of things. So it just comes down to, I think if you love Pacific Chill and it's one of your favorite Louis Vuittons, you're still going to love this. However, though, if you don't like Pacific Chill and it's one of your least favorite Louis Vuittons, I think you're going to love this as well because, like I said, it fixes everything I had an issue with Pacific Chill. You can go back and watch my review of it because, like I said, I was the first person on YouTube to review it and was one of the first Louis Vuittons I gave a negative review to, and I have 16 Louis right behind you, and I'm a big fan of the house. So if an amped up grapefruit, ozonic, watery, violet leaf, and this kind of amber woody base sounds good to you guys, yeah, just at the end of the day, a much better take on Pacific Chill scent profile with a twist that was much needed. For the best seasons to rock Rare Reef, this is primarily a spring and summer fragrance, guys, not the fall and winter at all. It's too fruity, too bright, too minty, and now even a little bit ozonic. It's gonna shine the best in the warm weather. I'm gonna be wearing this one a ton. I already wore it like 3 times since getting the bottle. Which really surprised me because knowing this was a twist on Pacific Chill, I was like, oh, I'm probably not gonna enjoy it. For occasion, this is definitely a casual fragrance, guys. The kind of fragrance you just rock pretty much almost every day in the spring and summertime. If you're running errands, going to work, going to the beach, going to the pool, just kind of a casual setting, guys. If you're wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, a white t-shirt, shorts, jeans, something like that. It doesn't really suit like more formal attire. There's nothing like very sophisticated or formal about the scent profile. This gives me ultra casual vibes in the spring and summer. And for gender, this one I will categorize as unisex because, like I said, Pacific Chill was definitely a feminine leaning fragrance, even though it was targeted towards men. This one, it takes that DNA and adds a little bit more masculine quality, so still unisex at the end of the day, but absolutely more masculine than Pacific Chill, believe me. And for age groups, I'm gonna categorize this as a youthful, guys, because it gives off this fun, fruity, playful nature about it. It's definitely not a mature fragrance at all. I categorize probably anybody like in their 20s enjoying this best, maybe even late teens, possibly in your 30s, but like 40s, 50s, and up, you're not really gonna enjoy this fragrance that much. You probably will want something a little bit more mature smelling, but at the end of the day, of course, you can wear whatever you want at any age group you guys are. I'm just trying to paint you guys the best picture, and this is without a doubt, in my mind, a youthful smelling fragrance. Now, wrapping the review off, talking on the performance you should expect to get from a Rare Reef. So, with Pacific Chill, guys, since I'm comparing it, I got terrible performance from the fragrance. One of the worst performing Louis Vuittons alongside Afternoon Swim, which I love Afternoon Swim. With this one being an extrait de parfum, I did get upwards to that 10-hour mark of longevity on skin, guys. Now, you're gonna probably wanna have moisturized and like clean skin to get upwards to the 10 hours. But wow, this performs way better than Pacific Chill. It's not even close, guys. It's not even a comparison when it comes to longevity. 10 hours of a scent profile like this, yeah, I'm all for it. Because something that smells this vibrant, this fresh, fruity, doesn't really last even like 6 hours most of the time. So you are gonna get 10 hours out of this. And that's probably why Afnan did make this an extrait de parfum, because the scent profile usually is known for not performing the best, but this one, it definitely does. And when it comes to the projection, I did get about moderate projection, which means it's not gonna be a soft, intimate projector where nobody really smells you, but it's also not a beast mode room filling projector either. It just means moderate, people kind of closer to you will be able to detect it, probably an arm's length away. And when you're walking around, going about your day, going about your business, the scent sillage that leaves behind you is this fruity, fresh, kind of watery scent trail that is so good, guys. So 10 hours of very good longevity on skin, and about modern projection you will expect to get from a rare Reef. So no complaints at all, guys. This fragrance is affordable. It's a twist on Pacific Chill that I think is far better and has very good performance through and through. So let me know down below if you guys have had the chance to try rare Reef. What are your thoughts on this? Do you prefer it over Pacific Chill? Vice versa. I'm very curious what you guys think about the new fragrance from Afnan, because me personally, I think this stuff is an absolute hit. And besides that, leave a like on the video, subscribe below if you haven't already, because what are you doing? I got you guys with the daily fragrance content, and I'll see all of you back here tomorrow. Take care.